Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 24 hours, I've seen the absolute worst in people, and I have to admit, it has shaken me to my very core. I am not a political person. I do not talk politics on this channel, and I never will. My vision for Real Shift was to create a place where people can go to escape the evils of the real world and hopefully have some healthy conversation about movies. And for the most part, I feel like I've accomplished that. But there are certain things as a man that I just cannot ignore. And when anyone, let alone a writer from one of the two biggest comic publications on the planet, makes a mockery of someone's death, that is something that I cannot ignore. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So for those of you who have been following me for some time, you know that I find the reactions to certain things a lot more telling and a lot more revealing than I do the actual thing that people are reacting to. I've made many videos talking about the unhinged and deranged things that people have said to me over movie opinions of all things. And if movie opinions are enough to set these people off and cause them to say the most vile things imaginable to a person, then I have no doubt that a person who spoke their truth about certain hot-button issues in the real world like Charlie Kirk did is going to inspire a lot of hatred. And I come to you today as someone who didn't really follow his work. Of course, I've seen videos here and there of his debates, but I come to you as a man, as a father, as a husband, and not to make a political statement, politics, because to me this is much bigger than that. This is about life and death. We are talking about people being villainized over their opinions, over their beliefs, over their values, something that I have personally experienced on a much smaller scale. And more than anything, we are talking about individuals celebrating another individual being murdered in cold blood, making two children fatherless, making a wife husbandless, and making a society more divided than it's ever been. I'm going to be real with you, I lost a lot of faith in humanity over the last 24 hours. I've questioned everything. I've questioned whether or not putting yourself out there and expressing yourself publicly is really worth the risk. I've questioned how exactly we got to a point where people are resorting to violence to resolve their differences, and how we got to a point where some people seem to think that that's okay. There are people that are so okay with what happened that they are announcing their satisfaction on social media. And one of these individuals is one Gretchen Felker Martin, who had this to say about the incident. I'm not going to read it because it is so vile, but I needed to show you just so everyone has context. I think her words speak for themselves in the worst way possible. And this person also just so happened to be a writer at DC Comics working on their Red Hood series of comics. And after many people brought this to DC's attention, DC today announced that they are canceling all future issues of Red Hood. They have also given a statement as to why, saying, quote, "At DC Comics, we place the highest value on our creators and community and affirm the right to peaceful individual expression of personal viewpoints. Posts or public comments that can be viewed as promoting hostility or violence are inconsistent with DC's standards of conduct." That, my friends, is what we call a rare DC Comics W in modern times. Good on them for reacting to the situation as any decent company should. There's been a lot of talk about freedom of speech over the last couple of days, from people like the person in question here, saying that suddenly people who are all about freedom of speech are against it when it comes to this incident. Being a vile, disgusting human being who advocates for people to be killed just because you do not like them is in fact freedom of speech. But to me, there are certain lines that you do not cross as a human being. Unless, of course, you lack all humanity like this person demonstrated. These people who are making light of this situation are dehumanizing themselves. It's the self-own to end all self-owns. You can dislike the man and what he stood for. Hell, you can even hate him. But when you take it to this level, it becomes something else entirely. And you certainly cannot hide behind your disingenuous use of the free speech excuse because you're looking for gotcha moments. It just doesn't work that way. To me, every single person who is celebrating this deserves to be held accountable, just like this DC Comics writer. Thankfully, it seems like these people are the minority, and that most people are exhibiting some level of human decency. But at the end of the day, the fact that we're even talking about this should tell all of us something. It should tell us that we have failed as a species. As most of you know, I pretty much have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to bullshit. And over the past 24 hours, I've seen more bullshit than I care to comment on. At the end of the day, my parting message to anyone who has the good sense to not be like these people is continue to stand up for what you believe in, continue to speak your truth, regardless of how it makes some people feel. And more importantly than anything else, cherish life and the people that you love. Because unfortunately, this is yet another reminder of how it can all be taken away in an instant.
Y'all be cool. Shut up.